I always thought fog was just weather. A misty morning, a low-hanging cloud, nothing sinister. But then I walked through the wrong kind of fog, and I realized something was in it. It started last week. The fog rolled in thicker than usual, swallowing the streets, muffling the sounds of the city. People joked about it. "Feels like Silent Hill out here," my coworker laughed. But by the next morning, people started going missing. I didn't think much of it at first. Cities have crime. People disappear, it happens. But then, I noticed something strange. The disappearances only happened on foggy nights, and everyone who vanished was last seen walking into the mist. Then one night it was my turn. I left work late, the streets empty. The fog had settled in again, so thick I could barely see my own feet. My phone's GPS glitched, the signal cutting out. I turned a corner, and he was there. A tall figure stood in the distance, barely visible through the mist. Not moving, not breathing, just watching. I stopped, my heart hammering. "Hey," I called out, my voice sounding wrong in the thick air. He tilted his head. Then, slowly, he stepped forward. I backed away. Something about him was off, his limbs too long, his movements unnatural. Then I heard it. A low, distorted whisper coming from the fog itself. Not words, just sound. Like the air itself was trying to speak. I turned and ran. The fog thickened, swallowing the streetlights, stretching the road longer than it should have been. The whisper grew louder, and then footsteps behind me, fast. I didn't look back. I sprinted for my apartment, keys slipping in my sweaty hands as I fumbled at the door. The footsteps stopped. I turned, gasping for air. Nothing. Just fog. Just silence. But on the sidewalk where I had just been standing, there were wet footprints. I barely slept that night. And in the morning, the fog had lifted. Everything looked normal again. Except for one thing. The news reported another disappearance. And the last security footage showed them walking into the fog. I don't go out at night anymore. Not when the mist is rolling in. Because sometimes when the fog creeps down my street, I hear it again. That low whisper moving through the air. And I know he's still there, waiting.